Hello and welcome to another episode of the Trans 101 series. Today I'm going to be talking about hormone replacement therapy, or as some people like to refer to, HRT. So basically hormone replacement therapy, and I'm going to talk about it mostly in a female to male hormone replacement way. But this could also be applied for trans women, male to female trans individuals who go on hormones as well. So when you are FTM, female to male, like me, you go on testosterone. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the changes of testosterone and getting testosterone and all of these other things related to hormones. So when you're ready to take hormones and you've gone to therapy and the therapists have given you a letter and you're able to get your hormones, you're going to get your hormones in front of you, okay? Okay, right before you get your hormones and inject it, you have to get a blood test. Now the blood test is going to check your total testosterone, your bioavailable testosterone, and your estrogen levels. They also check like your cholesterol and stuff like that to make sure that you're healthy enough to go on hormones. Now yes, there are some people who have medical conditions that prevent them from going on hormones, and that happens, and that's rare, but it could happen. So usually it's an endocrinologist that prescribes you testosterone. So basically what happens is after your blood test, you're going to see your endocrinologist, they're going to look at the results, and based on your hormone levels, on your testosterone levels, they're going to prescribe you testosterone. Now, I'm going to say that usually in America and Canada, people usually start at the same dose, depending on your doctor, but usually almost everyone that I know all started. In Canada was 0.25, and in America was 0.5, because it's a different testosterone, one of them is more concentrated. Don't take my word for it, don't start injecting hormones right now at that level, I'm just saying you need to get your levels checked first. So you start injecting testosterone. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the changes and what happens. And right before I do that, I know I just said injecting testosterone, but let me talk about the methods of putting testosterone in your body, okay? So hormone replacement therapy, you are replacing the hormones that are in your body. And right now you have a lot of estrogen in your body. So you kind of need to let the estrogen go like down and put the testosterone up. That's what you need, because we all have testosterone in our bodies anyways, but we need to increase it so that we can get the secondary sex characteristics and the facial hair and stuff like that of what men in society look like. So the way to take testosterone is, the most common way is injections. So intramuscular injections, usually done in the leg, or you can do subcutaneous injections in the fat, usually in the stomach. That's usually what everyone starts on. I started on that, but I don't like injections, so I stopped. And now I do a different type of administering my testosterone. I use a gel, and I'm not gonna say the name of the gel because this video will get flagged, but it's a gel that I apply every single day on my arm, and that's it. That's it. Every day I put it on my arm, and that's how I put it. There are other ways as well. There's a patch that you can use, all right, and there is a deodorant, which is basically the gel that you use. You just put it and you kind of put it under your armpits. And then there are other ways that you can do it, like creams and stuff like that. But really the most common one is injections. Now, do injections and the gel have different side effects, or do they work differently or less than the other? No. A huge misconception about the gel is that it doesn't work as well as the injections, and that's not true. Some people cannot absorb the gel as well as other people. That is 100% true, and that does happen. But for the most part, you're going to get the same changes even if you start on the gel than if you start on injections. Also, injections are usually done weekly or bi-weekly, or I know that in the UK they are done monthly or by 3 months. Yeah. It's a different type of testosterone that you can take, that it's like 10 weeks or something that you can take it between shots. So it really depends on where you are in the world and what kind of testosterone is available to you. And I also can't tell you the price of testosterone. I live in Quebec, Canada. The price of testosterone for me will be different than somebody who lives in Ontario, than somebody who lives in the States, than somebody who lives in like Sweden, for example. So what are the changes that you get when you're on hormones? Well, so I'm gonna give you kind of a broad overview. There are more changes, obviously, than what I'm gonna talk about, but I'm gonna talk about the main ones. So basically, you're gonna get some facial hair. All right, facial hair does happen. It doesn't happen as fast for someone as it might for someone else. So some people never get facial hair even 7 years. They just get like little. Other people who have been 7 years on T look like this. I've been on T for 7 years. This is what my beard looks like. You're also gonna get some body hair. So I have hair on my arms here, on my back, on my stomach. The hair on your legs does get darker, and the hair on your arms as well. Your smell starts to change. You start smelling more manly, so like more sweaty and odor. And your urine starts smelling differently. And I know that that's weird, but if you ever walk into a men's bathroom and you're like, oh, what's that smell? It's the urine. The urine, it smells different. you're gonna get really hungry at first, okay? Just think of it this way. You're going through another puberty. You're going through the puberty that you were supposed to have originally. So, you are gonna be hungry. I used to have to eat like 3 dinners, which was a little much. And some people do gain weight when they start taking testosterone because their appetite is so much higher. Your fat will redistribute, okay? So the fat around your hips kind of goes up and kind of tries to make you have a more, straight boxy body. That doesn't happen for everyone, and don't expect miracles. It doesn't like act right away. It takes a couple of months, but the fat does redistribute away from your hips and kind of moves. A lot of it moves to your stomach, honestly, but yeah. Your sex drive will increase, and just a warning for anyone, especially parents who are watching this, I'm gonna be using words that might not be comfortable with people, but I will, just for the sake of clarity. The clitoris will grow, so I can't give you an estimate of how much it grows, but some people grows a lot and some people grows not that much or not at all. So it's not gonna grow into like a 9-inch wiener, okay? Usually it can grow like up to here like that. But remember that you do still have ligaments that are kind of attached to it, so it doesn't really poke out that much. It just kind of stays a bit lower, but it can get hard, just like a cis wiener can. Your periods will stop. Usually that happens within like 1 to 4 months. Some people it lasts longer, some people still have spotting when they're on testosterone, but usually it stops after a couple of months of being on testosterone. Your voice will get deeper. How did I not mention that first? That's like one of the first things that you notice, is that your junk becomes very sensitive because it's growing, and that your voice starts to deepen. So it could take a couple of years for your voice to get to the range that it can get to, but for most people it's within the first year that your voice drops, and it just kind of stays the same. So what testosterone won't do, it won't make you taller. If you've already gone through puberty and you're starting testosterone later on, you're not going to grow taller. Some people have said that they have grown taller. That's great, but there's no medical science or research that is done that says that it makes you taller. 2, it won't grow your feet. Yes, some people says that it grows your feet, but I believe that it's actually the cartilage that grows, because your nose cartilage for some reason also grows, and my nose looks different than it did before. So your feet, I guess, could get bigger, but normally your feet stay the same. Yes, you will start losing your hair. You start to shed your hair, so hair comes out more. It doesn't mean you're gonna go bald right away, but it does. Male pattern baldness is a thing. It is gonna happen because it is driven by testosterone and a high level of testosterone in one's body. Will you lose your breasts? No. Yes, the fat will redistribute, so it kind of moves other places and try to make you more boxy, and you will lose a little bit of fat in your chest, but it is not enough to completely have a flat chest. For some people it is, because they have really, really small chests, but for other people, usually it doesn't really happen with the chest. So, I mean, that's disappointing for a lot of people, but testosterone is not a miracle drug. It doesn't solve all of your problems. It does just make you appear more masculine and gives you the physical body of men, which is really great for some people, but it just sucks that we can't pick and choose the changes that we want. So it would be great if we couldn't have a chest anymore, and if we didn't go bald, if we just had a voice that we wanted exactly how deep it is, but you can't really pick what you want, And the last thing that I forgot to mention about testosterone is that it does increase your red blood cells, so that means that you are going to be a little more, not active, but like when you run, you can run a little longer. Like you can have more endurance. I used to walk up the hill to where I live, and I used to like die. And then I started testosterone like 3 years later, and I've actually lived on this street for like 7 years. I like run up that hill now with no problem. So it does help with the endurance part of life. Oh my god, that's weird. I don't know what I'm saying. Exercise and stuff like that. You can go longer and you can go faster. So that is basically it for the testosterone. Now there are different changes obviously for estrogen. It's not completely different for estrogen for trans women that take estrogen in order to transition. Like the voice doesn't usually lower, but your hair stops receding after a while, which is great. Your skin becomes softer, and for some people the libido drops. Other people the libido actually increases. So there's a lot of changes, because I'm trans man and I'm not a trans woman, I want to give you information from what I know personally and the things that I've done. So if you want information on estrogen and trans women and that, I will put the link in the description below, and I will also link you to some YouTubers who have talked about hormone replacement therapy if you are a trans woman taking estrogen. So you do have to go on hormones for the rest of your life. When I was younger and there wasn't that many information online, I thought you only had to take it for 5 years and then your body kind of like knew and kind of took over and just produced its own natural testosterone. Unfortunately, that does not happen. I wish it did, but it doesn't. Because you still have ovaries that produce estrogen, you're still gonna have estrogen in your body. And even if you get a hysterectomy and you get those removed, you're still not gonna have something that produces testosterone naturally in your body. So you still need to administer testosterone either by injection or gel or all the other ways that I said that you can do it. So it's a lifelong thing that you take. And the 5-year thing that I was talking about is because usually all of the changes that you're going to get with testosterone happen within the first 5 years. Now, as somebody who has been on hormones for over 7 years, I can tell you that things are still changing. But I think it's just because I'm growing up, so my hair is receding a little more, and I just noticed a couple of other things, but that mostly the big changes happen within the first year, and then within the first 5 years you kind of get all of the, like what would happen, like the body hair kind of stops after 5 years, like that's as much as you're gonna get. Anyways, thank you so much for joining me. Hopefully this was informational. I will put all the links in the description below that I talked about and a little more, especially if I forgot something, because there's a lot to remember about hormones. But the next video that I'm talking about is the dangers of hormone replacement therapy. So that's why I have not even mentioned that in this video at all, because a lot of people want to know what are the dangers and the issues with like fertility and stuff like that. So all those videos are coming up next in this playlist. But for now, let's just, focus on the links that I gave you, and I'll see you later. Have a great day. Bye.